Randall and on the fast track with Jet Lending. We are right now in Braeswood area. We've got a house, a remodel. I'd like to talk about a couple different things. Come on in. Very common layout here. Got your entry, living space, dining room, kitchen, den, or family room area on this side. And what we talked with the client about doing over here is removing this wall completely all the way from this side over, so that this entry, living, den area will be completely combined, and then leaving that space where the dining room is now to be able to function as an office. And by opening this space up, this is one thing to be aware of if you're deciding to add an office space, that sometimes that dining room can be added. You just have to make sure that you connect the kitchen closer to where someone might have a formal or a dining room space. So here is the dining now, and we're going to cut this wall back and open this up so that the new buyer will be able to have a dining room closer to the kitchen if they decide to use the old dining room as an office, which is what the client has in mind. So when you look at opening spaces like this, definitely a load-bearing wall, definitely doable, not something that has to be a big concern. You just want to consider a few things. One, making sure that the plumbing or AC or any kind of roof line access is able to be, if you put a flush beam up, that it's able to be removed or rerouted, because a flush beam will go up into the attic space. If you cannot go up into the attic with a flush beam, you are able to do a drop beam. Just recall that when we first walked in, we're removing this one wall at the entry as well. So one of those two does need to be a flush beam. Otherwise, it looks pretty awkward with both of them being dropped. So this one we are going to be doing as a drop beam though, and the other, this living room area, we're going to lift all the way up. And this will function with these faux beams here. They'll be able to put just right into that drop beam. One more thing to note, that if you have a house with paneling on it, a lot of times it does not have sheetrock behind it, and that was the case here. There was paneling on the walls. Just bear that in mind with your budget as you're walking through. This will be a nice open kitchen area. We're going to get rid of this small wall here as well. One thing also, when you're thinking about opening up in beams, there's another load-bearing concept here as well. Not just because this has a vault ceiling, but also because the ceiling joists a lot of times are different from this breakfast area to the main family room area. Okay, so that does require, if you open this wall up a little bit, or you open this wall up a little bit like we are, you will have to install a new beam that goes across. This can also be a drop beam because it's farther away, a drop header or drop beam, depending on how far you extend it. You can run it all the way from the walls that you're keeping on over. This particular area, the kitchen is going to be a lot more open. It's gonna still be functional because they'll have a peninsula coming out here. The fridge is still able to be hidden and be a more built-in fridge style. The pantry will still be there. This particular client is deciding to keep both access points to the study. So if the new buyer does decide to make and retain that as a dining room area, they can. So this area here going into the old dining room area will remain, as well as the other dining room area. Thanks, get out there and invest.